Hi, welcome everyone to PopCultX episode 146. As always, I am the co-host Gabriel along with Danny, the other co-host of PopCultX, bringing you all the pop culture news from a Gen X perspective. Let's go ahead and get into it, Danny, this week. What's going on? How have you been?
Doing good. Playing a lot of video games, which I know it's kind of weird to say, I guess, as from a older person's perspective. Maybe we should have left video games behind a while ago, but they're meant for all ages. So I've been playing a lot of a game called Helldivers 2, which I think I've talked about on here before. It's a really fun game. It's a squad-based game where you have the opportunity to jump into this planet as a soldier, obviously, and it's really kind of like Starship Troopers in a way, that movie Starship Troopers. So you take on these huge bugs, or you take on these robots, depending upon what enemy you choose to fight. And I like it because it's really cinematic. I mean, you call in like these airstrikes, and there's like a big Michael Bay explosion in the background, and you're just sitting there watching it, and it's just really fun for those moments. So it's just something I've been playing a lot. They're releasing an update for it a couple days from now, and I'm really excited to explore what the update was because it's going to be they're introducing more like jungle warfare. So you get a lot of the camouflage. Think Rambo, or think Predator, think the movie Commando, where Arnold puts all the camouflage makeup on, and that's what like the new armor set looked like. So I'm really excited for that.
Very cool. There was a video game that I saw. I forget what the name of it is, but it's within the world of Hellboy. I don't know if it's new or not, but it came up on my Instagram recommendations, and I didn't see any of the gameplay. I just saw like the art, and the art looks really cool because they have the creator of Hellboy doing the artwork. I believe his name is Mike Mignola or Mignola.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
He does really cool artwork. I'm a really big fan of his artwork, and he's worked specifically on this video game. And I don't know if I really want to see the gameplay of it because it looks really interesting. And I think that it's for Nintendo Switch. I don't know if it's for all formats of gaming, but I saw that it was specifically that console or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And I was tempted to buy one for a split second because it looks so cool. Like I don't normally not a video game player, but the visuals of that video game look so cool that I was like, I really want to play it.
Yeah, I think it's available. I'm looking right now on the website. It's called Web of Weird. I think that's what it is. It's available on all platforms, so Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and Steam. And I think you're right. It was Mike Mignola that did the artwork for it. But I think when I saw the trailer for it, what really caught my eye was that the gameplay animation was similar to like Spider-Man Across the Universe type of style.
Yeah.
So that was like really drew me, and I was like, oh wow, that's really cool because it's different from the trying to be the realistic or whatnot of realism. It's more into the comic book side of it.
Yeah, it just looks really cool. So
yeah,
I'm still kind of tempted to buy something to play it, but I don't know. We'll see.
Well, I'm gonna have to go see if I can get it on my PlayStation and play it then, because it looks really cool.
Doesn't it? It looks really dope. It looks really dope. It just the artwork is what's really drawing me into it. But any other video games that you've been playing that are worth mentioning?
I started up Diablo 4 again. I'm really looking forward to Wolverine when that finally releases. I know they're
this year or next year.
I think next year. It keeps getting pushed back from what I can tell. I know Star Wars, they are releasing a game called Outlaws, which is an open world game where you take control of the central character and you can go open explore the whole Star Wars galaxy, which is kind of fun if you ever wanted to, go to different planets within the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
And they also, I think there's a rumor for a game called Star Wars Total War, which I'm not sure if it's true or not, but if you know about the Total War series, that's pretty fun. It's a pretty fun series because it's basically you get a map and you put all your characters on there, and like you can have up to like 1,000 troops and they all go to battle and whatnot. So you can create these massive battles or even recreate like the Battle of Troy or something like that. So that's pretty fun. That's rumored though, so I'm not sure if that's going to happen.
It would be really funny if they had a Star Wars game that instead of like going to battle, you were exploring the worlds, but it was like the most mundane things, like going to like the galactic dentist or going to the galactic laundromat, just doing like the most boring things, but like in the Star Wars universe or galaxy or whatever.
You work at like a gas station on some planet that's just a Passover planet, and that's all you do. Fill up
Yeah,
people's gas on their starships. It's like clerks for Star Wars.
yeah, it'd be
That would be
hilarious.
hilarious. Actually, that's not a bad premise for a movie if you think about it. Imagine the amount of people that would, or creatures or alien races, whatever, that would come through that starport to get refueled, right?
Right.
And then you have the Kevin Smith or whatever the characters from Clerks. I don't remember their names, but I know Kevin Smith did it. And
Yeah.
they have those type of people at the register and whatnot. That'd be kind of
Yeah.
fun.
One of them would have to be some sort of weird alien, and the other one like a humanoid.
You'd have to
Yeah.
have it like that. That'd be pretty good. We need to pitch that to Kevin Smith, have him make it or write it.
Yeah, I'm sure he's down to do it.
Yeah.
We just have to bring it up.
Exactly, exactly. What about you? What have you been up to?
I've been reading a lot. I just finished reading a book called Summer Suns by, let's see if I can get the name correctly here, Lee Mandelo.
Okay.
It's sort of like a Southern Gothic, supernatural book where this guy, his best friend, takes his own life, which is kind of dramatic and sad. But it's like, did he really take his own life, or was he murdered? And was it,
Mhm.
did someone else kill him? So you kind of go through. There's a lot. I don't want to ruin it for anyone, but it's very supernatural because you have ghosts kind of talking to people or coming into the living to try to get them into the right frame of mind to figure out what really happened to this guy. And it's a really good book. It's sort of uh, there's a lot. I'm like, my words are escaping me right now about the good details of the book, but there's the guys that are in the book are uh racing. They race auto cars a lot, so like
Okay.
they're doing a lot of car racing, a lot of partying. They are like southern guys, so it's a really interesting book. I'm really not doing a good job explaining it. Sort of like a
Well,
love
people
story.
can Google it, right?
Yeah, there's sort of a love story that happens kind of weirdly. It's suspense, and then there's like a dark evil side to it as well. So it's really good if you're into horror, if
Okay.
you're into supernatural stuff. I would definitely recommend it. The other book that I just started is called Pinata, which is a little bit more easy for me to explain. But it's uh talking about like sort of the ancient gods that existed in like pre-colonial times in Mexico.
Okay.
And these gods, as far as what I've read so far, sort of like trying to enter in the world again because they want sort of the revenge of like people not worshiping them anymore. They really don't like exist. And uh, there's a family that it revolves around, a mother and her two daughters, and she's living in Mexico City, working as an architect. And they're originally from New York, but um, they're living in Mexico City to work on this church that's being turned into like a hotel.
Oh, okay.
And something gets unearthed, and all this supernatural stuff happens. So it's really interesting. I just started it, so I can't really get too much into it, but it's really good. And it's again for people who are really into horror or supernatural stuff. I definitely would recommend it so far.
Just please tell me that there will be a killer pinata in there, because that would be awesome.
Yeah, it's really interesting because there's they kind of go into it slightly. They talk about how piñatas were so they had like seven spines on them or seven cones, and I'm sure you've seen the ones that are like round with like seven
Yeah.
spikes kind of sticking out of them, and they represent like the seven deadly sins, and that
Oh,
was
I
part
did
of
not
the
know that.
culture. And you would like beat it up to kind of get rid of your sins.
Oh,
Um,
that's cool.
and I don't know how historically accurate that is, but that's what this book is talking about, and how Catholicism used that, and how uh, in the beginning of this book, there's the symbolism of this old um, relic that these indigenous people have, that they used to make an offering, and the Catholic priests make them destroy it, because it's representing their culture and these, gods that existed pre
Hmm.
colonization, and they make them destroy it, and it's sort of like the piñata kind of represents them destroying their old culture and having to be forced into this new culture. So it's really interesting, and kind of has like a historic twist to it,
Cool.
mixed with the supernatural. And you don't really get a lot of like horror in the setting of like Mexico City or Mexico or with Latinos very often. So that's what kind of really drew my attention to it, because you don't really see us as the protagonists in a lot of horror movies or in horror books. And so it's kind of interesting and cool that it takes place in Mexico and it has the protagonist being Mexican. So it's kind of cool.
That is really cool. I'll have to check that out. Pinata. I like it.
Yeah.
Very
And
cool. I read a book called, what was it called? Finley Donovan is Killing It. Well, I say I read it. I was listening to it, and it was interesting. It's like the first of a 5-part series that about a single mom and her two. She's a struggling novelist, and she gets wrapped into this mystery about murder mystery thing, and it was kind of funny. It was pretty good. It's a young adult book, so it's nothing too, too strenuous, I guess, but it was really good, and I recommend it if anyone out there wants a nice little summer book to read as well.
Yeah, that's one of my big favorite things to do during the summer is read like really light reading that's like
Yeah.
not totally heavy or not like classical literature, something that's sort of light.
Mhm.
Thinking of like Valley of the Dolls or something that's just kind of frivolous and fun to read. And that's what kind of got me reading this current book. I kind of just went into the horror section, was like, let me find a horror book that's kind of scary and
That's
not
cool. Yeah.
super difficult to read, but just kind of a fun adventure. So yeah, I'll be reading a lot during the summer, hopefully reading a lot of books. So if anyone has any recommendations on anything that's kind of a fun read, definitely hit us up and let me know.
And this will be the first book in the Pop Cult X Summer Book Club. So thanks, Gabriel, for choosing Pinata for us. So if you're hearing this and you want to join into the Pop Cult X Summer Book Club, Pinata, we'll talk about it more next episode. And we look forward to hearing, hopefully, your guys' comments and takes on the book. And let us know if that's something that you guys would be interested in really doing. I was just kind of joking, but it's something that we could make happen. And I think it'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, I think it's cool. And to kind of mention more about the book, the author, his name is Leopoldo Gout. He's actually an artist as well. He not only is a writer, but he's like paints and
Okay.
does, I believe, sculpture. And he's based out of Mexico as well. Really cool. I recommend people looking him up on Instagram and not only checking out the book, but like checking out his life's work,
Yeah,
including his artwork, because it's really interesting. He's a really interesting person, and it's kind of cool to see his artwork plus reading the book. It kind of has like a vibe going for it that's really interesting. So check him out.
that's really cool. I will check that out, check him out, and everyone else out there do the same. Like I said, we can make this a real thing. The Pop Cult X Summer Book Club. I'm all for that. I'm down for that. I like to read. I love to read. So it's just one of those ways to escape. And like you said, something summer shouldn't be too serious. Just
Yeah,
a way to just, get your imagination working. I
yeah, for
mean,
sure. The other thing that we're kind of started for the summer is the summer music series at the North Island Credit Union
oh,
Amphitheater
okay.
here in San Diego. The kickoff to it was we saw Janet Jackson
Oh,
and
wow.
Nelly. And so that was a lot
Okay.
of fun. It was Nelly. I haven't really listened to his music in quite some time, but to hear him bring out like his hits, you're like, oh yeah, that was like a really cool song.
Hmm.
So he was a lot of fun to listen to. And then Janet Jackson obviously has a huge catalog of music that she kind of draws on.
Yeah.
Really good concert. She sounded amazing. She looked great. The set was really cool. Choreography was on point as always with Janet Jackson. And she had like four background dancers, four male background dancers, which was kind of a little bit pared down for her, I think, because normally she has like a huge group of like 20 dancers, and
Mm-hmm.
it was a little bit pared down, I think, but it was still really cool. They still did a really cool choreography and brought some really cool music. The big kind of showstopper was Together Again. That's how she closed the show. But it was really fun. The other concert that I went to was kind of a different vibe. It was Caifanes and Café Tacuba.
Oh, nice. Nice. Very cool.
So I actually was working there as part of my day job, and but also got to see and listen to the music while it was happening. So that was pretty cool. Definitely a lot of people showed up. I think that they said that there was 14,000 people at the amphitheater. So a lot
Wow.
of fans of Caifanes and
Guyfanis is a great
Café.
band. Yeah.
Yeah, that's surprising to for me to hear that you like them. I didn't know you were a fan.
Well, come on. I like any like, alternative rock, gothic rock type of songs, and they fit right into there. I mean, they're they're great. I mean, Sin Aire, is that the name of that song? No Vivir Sin Ti, I think. One of their songs is just one of my favorite by them.
Nice, cool.
So it's yeah, they're great.
Yeah, I think they actually just played Las Vegas. One of my
I
coworkers,
think you're right because I saw a billboard for them. Yeah.
yeah, so they just left the Heat, and then now I think they're playing that Besame Mucho concert that's going to be in LA, which with like a ton of other Latino artists,
Hmm.
Shakira, Gloria Trevi, just I mean, there's so many. I can't even mention all of them because there's like 100 different Latino artists that are going to be playing
Oh
uh,
wow.
in at the Dodger Stadium, and so
You
they
can't
just.
name them all.
I know, yeah. They just announced Caifanes and Café Tacuba were going to be joining them, so it's going to be a huge musical festival. So
That's cool.
yeah, it's I looked into it, but it's kind of like a little bit out of my range price wise for the people that are playing. It's kind of expensive, but it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's. I mean, Afuera was the name of that song that I really like by them. By the
Okay.
way, Caifanes, Maná, those are like my two of my favorite rock and español bands. Um, but yeah, I don't talk about them as much as I do other bands, but I enjoy their music very much.
Yeah, it sort of reminds me because it's part of the summer music um, concert series for North Island, but
Mhm.
we're kind of in the mix of I guess we're at the beginning or about to become the beginning of
Yeah.
summer season. So a lot of times people are releasing new music. Typically, you have anthems for the summer, so that kind of brings on the topic of like summer hits or songs of the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah, and so do you have any songs that you're currently listening to that would fall into that category of summer anthems?
Well, I mean, so I was thinking about that topic, and it's funny you brought that up. It's funny you brought that up. It's just so like I don't know what spurned it on for me. It was like I think I heard "Fly" by Sugar Ray the other day,
Yeah.
and it really reminded me of my that year, that summer when that song was the big hit. Just going
Mhm.
to the beach a lot, just having the open windows, driving down to like La Jolla Beach and or Coronado, and just feeling the salt air, and it brought back all those memories. And I think that's something that a song, especially what we quote unquote a summer song should do,
Yeah.
is rekindle the memory of when you heard it and what those moments that it ignited for you. Um, so current songs that are doing that for me, I don't really. I mean, there's a few that I listened to that I was completely blown away by, and one is this artist that I'd never heard of before, and his name is Benson Boone,
Hmm.
and he has a new album that just came out in April. It's called Fireworks and Rollerblades, and it's just really fantastic. It blew me away. I wasn't expecting to hear the way he mixes genres and the way his voice is so powerful, and when he goes into his falsetto and other stuff, it was just really, really I don't know, captivating to me. So I listened to his whole album, and it's just from start to finish, it's just really powerful. So any one of those songs, there's a song called "Cry" on there, which I think, although the thematics of it might not be what you consider a summer song, but
Yeah.
the tempo of it, the upbeat music into it is really catchy. So I think that's what plays more into what a summer song is whether or not it's catchy or not.
Yeah.
Because you want it, summer song will be heard everywhere, right? From
Yeah, I think that
people.
at least in my mind, to categorize as a summer song, like it's probably going to be upbeat. It's going to be like a
Mhm.
party anthem, something
Exactly.
that's very akin to like get-togethers and like blasting it on your stereo, uh,
Hmm.
and things like that. Not necessarily a song, but an album for me that always kind of reminds me of summer is Bob Marley Legend, that album.
Hmm.
That just always reminds me of
Hmm.
like being on the beach and like maybe having some beers and relaxing and just kind of taking it
Absolutely.
easy. Um, so it's not necessarily a specific song from that album, just the album in general itself kind of brings back those memories for me. And that's an album that I will always want to play like while I'm like kind of relaxing at the beach. As far as music currently, haven't heard anything yet that I'm like, that's the clear cut summer song. That's going to be 2024 like song of the summer yet. I don't know if it's been released yet, or if maybe I just haven't had like my finger on the pulse and really know what's going on. But I don't think that the song has been released yet. I know that there's a lot of hit songs that are popping up right now, but I don't think that there's anything that has kind of crossed over into that like territory of summer song, song of the summer.
Right. Well, there's one that I heard, and I'm not sure if we're ready to forgive this artist on our show yet, and that's Eminem.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure how you feel about him and whether or not he's not paid for his transgressions or done enough to, get himself back into the good graces of the fans.
Yeah.
But I did hear a song by him called Houdini,
Yeah.
which sampled a lot of his old songs, sampled Abracadabra by Steve Miller Band, which is why I think I liked it because it had that song in there.
Yeah.
But it was one that I think might have potential for that, even though I'm not an Eminem fan at all, never
Yeah.
have been. So um, that was the only one that I've heard so far that potentially. Oh, Training Season by Dua Lipa, I thought was really catchy.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
song that's upbeat, danceable, um, and has the potential to be everywhere. And I think, especially in maybe it's switched a little bit in our social media um, years now, is that a song I think now has to have the, I don't want to say the TikTok stamp of approval, but
Yeah.
once everyone starts doing the TikTok challenges or with it or using it as in every single video, then that's going to become the song that really gets featured.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, to kind of just go back a beat here, I am not a fan of Eminem still. I still dislike him greatly. I listened to the song and it just didn't have to me like the impact that it would need to be like a real big smash hit. I could be
Okay.
wrong because he has a ton of fans and people love him.
Yeah.
But Dua Lipa definitely, she's like a hit maker. Like she pumps out like song after song of like really danceable club hits. So definitely in the running. Kind of just looking at the charts right now, Sabrina Carpenter has a lot of songs sort of in the top 10 of popular songs right now. And then a lot of other people that I don't really know of. Billie Eilish is on there, which I think is a little bit too subdued to
Yeah.
be like a
Yeah.
real big
I listened to that song.
yeah, I think that it doesn't really it misses a mark as far as like fun and wanting to party along. It's definitely for the more introspective people that want to listen to Billie Eilish and like not necessarily like go out to the beach and hang out with your friends kind of song. So yeah, I think there's some contenders, but I don't think anyone's really come out with like the jam yet.
Actually, I take that back. There is a song that I did hear that was kind of catchy. It's by Meghan Trainor, and it's called "Whoops."
Okay.
I'm not sure if you've heard that or not. I recommend going and listening to it. It's
Yeah.
very it's pretty catchy. I mean, it has a good beat. I could see people blasting it out, and it had the lyrics are very easily repeatable.
Yeah.
So it's pretty fun. I think that might be the. I'm not going to say it's going to be because who knows what people like nowadays. But I mean, especially when it comes to music, I feel like anything after 1999, really, I'm just like almost out of it.
Yeah, I'll check it out because she is a really great songwriter. She definitely comes up with like some really hooky songs that kind
Hmm.
of earworms that get into your head and
Oh yeah.
then you can't get them out. So for sure we'll check that out. But kind of jumping out of the music category, but still sticking into that theme of like summer. We have like the summer movies
Oh
that are
yeah.
coming out that I think Bad Boys just came out, the sequel to Bad Boys, with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. I didn't get a chance to check it out. I believe that it's out. If not, it's about to be released.
I
But
think
the
it's
big
out. Yeah.
that I'm waiting for is obviously Deadpool and Wolverine. I think that's going to kick off like summer season. It's going to live up to the hype. It's going to be the big movie of the summer. I think that the ticket sales are already projecting that it's going to be a big hit. I can't wait to go see it. But it reminds me of that time when you were a kid and like going to go see like Batman or
Hmm.
Jurassic Park, all those like really cool big movies that really like killed it in the summer box office. And that's like such a fun time for movie going when being part of the movie going audiences this summer when they release all those big blockbusters. It's like not those serious films, but just like fun explosions, Transformers, superheroes, like all of that fun stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. You're absolutely right. I mean, and I don't want to say, maybe this sounds like an old man in me. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it seems to be that when we were younger, summer movies had much more of an event quality. I think we talked about this a little bit last episode. And
Yeah.
the only reason I bring it up again is because I was watching True Lies last night. And I don't know if that was released in the summer, but it felt like it should have been.
Yeah.
Um, and I was thinking, had that movie come out in this day and age when people's attention spans might not be as great or whatnot, would it have had the same sort of success? Because that was a great movie. I mean, Arnold was in it, Jamie Lee Curtis, Tia Carrere, and Tom Arnold, and of course by James Cameron. So it's just it was a fantastic movie, and it got me really thinking: is it because social media has that really killed like the summer blockbuster movies? I don't know.
I don't know if they're dead. I think we can have this conversation once Deadpool comes out because that's going to be like summer blockbusters are back. I think that's going to be like the news or the
Okay.
like top story is like Deadpool brought back the summer movie. People think that like people are sleeping on superheroes and that they're over it, but I know that if my excitement is any indication of like fellow nerds, like we're gonna show up to go see Deadpool and
Of
Wolverine.
course.
It's gonna be a hit. And it's gonna bring back that whole genre of like summer blockbusters. And I think that that's gonna be the big story once that finally comes out to theaters for sure.
Yeah, I think so. And that's a huge movie, and it's gonna be great. I can already tell. I mean, it's just the buildup of it. I mean, it's it can't fail, can
Yeah,
it? I don't think so.
I don't think so. And it has all of those like earmarks of like the fun of summer blockbusters that you're talking about, like
Mhm.
it has like the cosplay aspect of it. Like people I think are going to show up like dressed as Wolverine and Deadpool
Oh
or
yeah.
other superheroes. You have like the movie tie-ins with like the toys and the comic books. You have like the popcorn with like Wolverine's head with like the mouth and like just
The
it
merchandise, yeah.
yeah, you have like it's just like a perfect melding of like all of those things, and it brings in so many different aspects of pop culture that, like you said, it can't fail because it has comic book fans, it has action movie fans, it has comedy fans. It just everyone's going to want to go see it, and it's going to be a huge hit.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, if you're a betting man, bet that that's going to be a big hit.
Yeah. I did watch a movie recently on Netflix that I think had a short run in theaters. I don't know exactly when it came out,
Oh,
with Glenn Powell called Hitman.
oh, okay.
And it was really fun. It's based on a true story of a gentleman named Gary Johnson who is a junior college professor, and he also has like a side gig as like working surveillance tech for the New Orleans Police Department. But one day he has to fill in the shoes of for a hitman for a sting operation. So they're trying to catch people who want to hire a hitman to kill XYZ person.
Huh.
And it shows how he goes about creating these different personas of the hitman, how he dives into the psychology of the mark, so to speak, of how what kind of hitman those persons are expecting the hitman to be. So he dons costumes, creates characters. And of course, he meets someone who he falls in love with the mark, and he becomes, involved with that. It's a really fun film, nothing too serious, and
Yeah.
I recommend it. It was fun.
Nice. I'll have to check it out. You said that's on Netflix, right? I think
Yes.
it's in the top 10 right now. Yeah, I haven't watched much movies lately at home. Like I said, I've been spending a lot of time reading, but
Mhm.
I am still watching, and I'll bring it up again. The Goat, which is like the greatest of all time reality star show that I've been watching. I've mentioned it here on PopCultX before, but it's still bringing me a lot of entertainment. It's a lot of fun just seeing all these different reality stars kind of go head to head and bring the drama and fight to find out who's the biggest TV star is. But kind of to tie that in into summer blockbusters, in the reality show world, one of the big things of summer is they bring back Big Brother. So that's something else that I'm looking forward to is Big Brother. That's one of the probably the best reality shows out there that continues to still thrive and be popular and have a really big fan base. But I'll definitely be watching it this summer as well.
That's interesting. I've never really watched Big Brother because I always thought it was too boring. It's like, why do I want people in a house? But the longevity of that show
Yeah.
proves that I'm just wrong.
Yeah, you kind of have to you have to kind of like let go of like any misgivings that you have about a reality show about people just living in a house and
Hmm.
then see that it's a competition series.
Okay.
So it's like watching a game show in like an extended game show. But there it brings in the drama of the people not being able to leave the other contestants and being in the house trapped and all of that. So it definitely is fun and it because there is a lot of play within the contestants and there's a social aspect of it that's really fun to watch and it's such a long period of time that they're stuck in this house that they condense to a watchable show that
Hmm.
there is a lot that you kind of get to see it's not as boring as it may sound because they compress all of the action into like a
Okay. Okay.
1 hour show a couple times a week so it's a lot of fun and
Okay.
it's not maybe it's not for everyone, but if you're, a fan of reality shows,
Yeah.
and you like watching, people in a competition series where they can't escape each other and they're stuck in a house together,
There you
then
go.
the show for you.
A very specific niche right there.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Would there be a show or reality show that you would go on? Like now, not younger, but like you in your current age as like a Gen Xer.
I would love to do Amazing Race
Yeah.
if that's still a thing, just for the travel aspect of it.
Yeah.
It seems like it would be a lot of fun getting to go to all these unique places and do competitions there. That'd probably be the only one.
Yeah, I think that would be fun. I know I would be horrible on it because I get lost in the easiest manner. Like I am not good at directions. I would be horrible at it, and I would be in like the first person to get kicked off. Big Brother would be fun. I think that that would be a fun one to go because it's not age specific. A lot of times, the older people do get voted off rather soon.
Hmm.
Uh, but it is kind of cool that they do cast people of like various ages. So you have really young people, old people, like middle-aged people.
Hmm.
And so I still would qualify as a contestant being a Gen Xer. But I think it would be a lot of fun. But it definitely would be weird to have cameras like on you 24 hours a day, capturing everything that you say. It's fun coming
Yeah.
on PopCultX and like sharing our opinion, but this is like, what we want to share with people. Certainly like the stuff that we mention, not thinking that people are listening to. So it would be kind of interesting to have cameras watching at all times, but I think it would be fun to be on there nonetheless.
What about a reality show where you really couldn't hide anything, and that would be like Naked and Afraid?
Oh yeah, I would not do that. The not only just because of the fact of like being naked in the outdoors and like the physical aspect of like the damage that they do to their bodies,
Oh, I
like
know.
bug bites and sunburn and sun cancer and like bacteria and just it's like why what like no I don't
Why?
need
Yeah, that's a good question.
I can make it in nature. I'm totally fine in the city. You can say that I wouldn't survive and that I would die. I'm fine with that. I am okay with low score. What is that score that they give them? Their like survivability
There,
score.
yeah, yeah.
I'm fine being a zero. Like I don't need to be like a 9 or a 10. Um, I am freely staying within civilization. I don't need to be out in the wild.
And the worst part about it, there's no prize for any of that on those shows.
Yeah,
It's just,
that's like what I mean. Big Brother is sort of very similar. You're out in the wilderness and you're getting these bug bites and you're starving your body and you're being sunburnt and all of that stuff. And it's just like, okay, yeah, maybe it's worth what do they win? Like maybe $1 million, if that, on Survivor. Uh, and then the 15 minutes of fame. But
hmm hmm
just I would like to see like people who have been on those shows and like the ramifications or like the like 5 years later, like
Oh yeah,
what are they
yeah.
still dealing with? Like those bug bites, were they infected? Were do they have like any diseases because of that? Or like what happened to them after the fact? Like how long did it take them to go back to normal? Because that's not normal at all behavior,
We'll see. After the bug bites and everything, then they have to get cosmetic surgery, and then they end up on botched.
right? Yeah.
There
Yeah,
you
that's a show I would not want to be on as well.
go.
You don't want to be on Botch. That's not a good
No.
show to be on, a reality show.
Although we've been watching a lot of it here, and the two doctors there, they're hilarious. I get a
Yeah,
kick out of them. They're really charismatic, great personalities, and I love the way they just go back and forth with each other. It's really a great show.
yeah,
Surprising to hear me say that, but yeah.
yeah. I mean, if you're going to be getting plastic surgery, you might as well get it done by someone that has a good personality and will make you laugh, right?
Or who will get it done right the first time, so you don't end up there. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, definitely. What is it, Doctor Terry Dubrow and
DeBro and Dr.
so,
Nassif. Yeah,
yeah, they're definitely at the pinnacle of their game. But Dr. Terry Dubrow, I think, is like an all-star reality shows because not only is he on that, but he's also on the Housewife franchise because his wife is a housewife of I
that's right.
believe it's, is it the OC or Beverly Hills? I forget,
I
but
think Beverly Hills, the Nassif
yeah,
one, right? Well,
yeah,
ex-wife now,
he's
right?
on that show as a house husband. So he's sort of an all-star of reality shows as well because he has multiple shows that he's on.
Yeah, and the Dr. DeBro, I think he's very knowledgeable when it comes to different pop culture stuff.
Yeah,
Just hearing him
well,
say,
and what's funny is that, or not funny, but kind of interesting is that Dr. Terry Dubrow, his brother, was a lead singer of that heavy metal band in the 80s, Quiet Riot.
yeah,
So,
he
I don't
mentioned
know.
that recently. Yeah,
Yeah. So it's kind of a fun fact.
there you
Like
go.
one son becomes a heavy metal singer, the other son or brother becomes a plastic surgeon. Kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. That's pretty cool though. That's a cool fun fact.
Yeah.
Speaking of fun fact, I have and you mentioned this concert, and so I had a little bit of trivia for you about summer songs.
Mhm.
And just to kind of wrap up the show here, and it's just because you mentioned one artist, and I thought that was funny because one of my questions was going to be about that artist. Well, he was the answer, and I think I already gave it away. It's okay. So, but I'll ask you, what year? Let me ask you that. What year did Nelly's song "Hot in Here" spend 7 weeks at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100?
Wow. I would have to guess like 2006.
Close, but a little over.
Huh. 2003.
Closer.
2000.
2002.
Oh, okay.
2002. It was a summer song, and that was what I guess it was the hot song of the summer because, of course, it's getting hot in here.
Yeah. I mean, I remember being in bars and clubs and that song like being
hmm
much a hit in the song of the summer. So yeah, I can definitely attest to that it being a legendary status within summer songs. But it fits the category, right? Like
Yeah.
it's a fun song. It's like
hmm
danceable. It's got catchy lyrics. It's like a party anthem. It's a fun song. So there's obviously a reason why it was a big hit.
Yeah. Yeah. And here's one more question for you. It has to do about movies.
Okay.
And this is about summer blockbuster movies. So film is often credited as the first summer blockbuster released in 1975? And I won't give you the director because that'll give it away.
Okay, 1975. I think that's too early for Star Wars because I want to say Star Wars came out 1976.
77.
Um, so wow. So what would be the big hit back then? Uh, Close Encounters.
Close, but not it. I'll give you a
Oh,
hint.
all right.
Dun.
Jaws.
Yes.
I was gonna guess that. I honestly was gonna guess that. But I was thinking more like sci-fi than animal horror fiction. But that's a classic. I love Jaws. That's
Yeah.
like one of my favorite films. It's so good. It still makes me afraid to go swimming in the
Oh,
ocean. Like many people, I think. But that's a classic. Yeah, Steven Spielberg,
hmm.
classic movie.
It's funny because he's also a couple. His films are like really summer blockbuster. When I think like Steven Spielberg movies, that's I think summer blockbuster like Jurassic Park, right, and
Uh,
other stuff like that. It's just like wow, he's remarkable for that.
Speaking of Jaws and like the actors, did you see that Richard Dreyfuss went on like this crazy rant? They had a screening of Jaws in like I want to say maybe this was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he showed up in like a dress and he went on this like anti-trans like weird rant and like people were walking out and like people don't know like what his deal was like they were there to talk about Jaws and he like went into this like whole other spiel about
Um,
all this other stuff and like people are like what's going on with him and it's kind of sad because I really liked him as an actor
yeah,
and so
interesting.
I hope he didn't like fall off the deep end because it certainly sounds like he did.
It certainly does. He's gonna need a bigger boat, definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
My goodness, that's interesting. Now, I hadn't heard about that. That's see if I can find out some info on that.
Yeah, it definitely it's I think people are like as an audience members, they're like becoming I wouldn't say that they're less tolerant, but they're more open to expressing their feelings on
Hmm.
whether or not they approve or disapprove of what people are saying versus before when a star talked, people were like, "Oh, I can't say anything." Like it's they're famous and I'm not. And now people are like, no, what you're saying is bullshit. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and listen to it which kind of lends me into this other pop culture like phenomenon or incident that happened. But George Lopez just got booed off the stage
Oh wow.
recently. I guess he was getting heckled and he left. And now I think that they're saying that he might get sued for leaving the show. Um, but the thing that kind of what made me kind of think about what was going on is like why did people heckle like I never
Hmm.
understood why
Hmm.
you pay a ticket to go see someone and then make fun of them or like heckle them on the stage like is it because you think you're funny like are you trying to get in be part of the act is it like narcissism because you think like people should be paying attention to you I just don't understand why people give comedians such a hard time. Like, even if they're not being funny, then just sit there and wait
Right.
until it's over.
Right. It's like you spent all that money to go to a show. The artist got your money,
Yeah.
and now you just want to like make it horrible for everyone else. It
Yeah.
is weird.
What is the good outcome of heckling going to do? Like,
Right.
if they're a really quick witted comedian, sometimes they're able to turn the tables on the heckler. And that is kind of fun to watch
Yeah. Yeah.
when a heckler's put in their place. But it's really off-putting. Like it's just like, what are you doing? Like, I mean, I think alcohol has a lot to do with it because a lot of times at comedy shows, there's like a two
Hmm.
and people definitely take that offer up. And so they get very loose-lipped. But I don't get it. Like it's just like if you don't like it, just sit there quietly and then walk out at the
Yeah.
end. Or get up and leave. Like I mean, if it's really that bad and that horrible, then just get up and leave and go
Hmm.
do your next thing.
Yeah. I agree. And that's weird. That I mean, I don't I don't want to say anything bad about George Lopez. I'm not really his biggest fan, I mean, I enjoyed him in Blue Beetle,
Yeah.
but that was probably about it. Um, and I know he is a huge comedian, so it's not like he's not like this unknown person. So it's interesting is why people. I wonder what they were saying to him.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested in that too because he has a pretty big following.
Hmm.
I don't know if maybe this is an indication of like him losing his fans or his fan base kind of weakening.
Yeah,
But it definitely like I've always thought of him having a really big fan base
yeah.
and being a very popular comedian. Um, so I don't know really what was going on. I'm not a fan of his, like you said. Like my favorite thing that he's ever done was being in Blue Beetle.
Hmm.
Uh, so I mean I definitely would not be buying tickets or lining up to go see him
Right.
at a show. But at the same time, like I'm not going to go to a show and like heckle him and give him a hard time for
Hmm.
doing his job, like trying to make someone laugh. Like that's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I could see if that person got the tickets for free, and had a beef with him or something and wanted to go, express that, but go to social media, go to Twitter, do it there.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what it's
Just
for.
ran on Twitter or X, whatever it's called. It says save your breath and your money.
Exactly. Save their trip out there. I mean, think about it. You got the tickets, you had to drive over to the club, you had to get your 2 drink minimum probably, like you said.
Yeah.
You had to spend time outside waiting to get in, you had to fight through the crowds, and it's just not worth the effort. That's a lot of effort.
Yeah, to just to show that you're a hater.
Exactly. Well, I'm curious what everyone out there thinks of what their favorite summer songs or summer blockbuster movie is. Just like I don't know if I have a favorite summer blockbuster movie. I think I have a list of a lot of them.
Yeah.
Like Star Wars, even though I did go see it when I was like 3 weeks old. So so I could say that's my first summer blockbuster movie I attended. Um, and it's probably still one of my favorite movies to this day. I've been started rewatching all of them again. Um, and there's plenty like Jurassic Park is another one of my favorite summer blockbuster movies. The Avengers. I know you don't like this one, but Avatar is one of my favorite, or The Dark Knight is also one of my favorites. So,
I like Avatar. I don't know if
oh,
I've
I
ever
thought you,
said that I don't like Avatar.
oh,
I
I
like
thought you did not like that one. Maybe
no,
it
I
was a
like,
different movie. Okay.
yeah, I don't like Star Wars.
Speaking of Star Wars, and this will be my last point thing I'll bring up. A new show release called The Acolyte, which
Yeah.
is really great Star Wars fun. It's been getting a lot of hate, a lot of review bombs, I guess, people putting out there by people who probably didn't even watch the show, but it's really well done. It's like I said, peak Star Wars. If you know Star Wars
Yeah.
and what Star Wars stands for, and then this show fits right in.
What is the complaint? Like why are people upset about this show?
I think the main complaint is that it has to do mainly with the female lead,
Okay, so
as
isn't
per
it
usual.
really really weird? Like the people that are anti female led movies or TV shows, I find that to be so odd.
Me
Like
too.
it's so weird. Like especially since a lot of those people are like young men, or I shouldn't say like they're typically men that are the most vocal, right? That are like, and I would say that they probably fall on the straight spectrum, like that
Yeah.
they're would
Oh yeah.
categorize themselves as straight men. So like you hate women, like you don't want to see women, like that's so odd, like that you would only want to watch movies or TV shows that have a male lead in them.
Yeah.
Is it because you can't see yourself in their shoes? Like you can't relate to them because you've objectified them so much that
That's
they're not human? Like
hmm
I
I,
don't, so weird.
I think that's it right there. They don't want to see them in roles that they think should be men, and that the women should just be serving them or something, whatnot, right?
Can be, yeah, like it
Yeah,
should be the princess that is dressed up in slave gear standing at
exactly.
the
Yep.
top of the hut. Yeah. Yeah, it's so weird. Like I don't get it. Like I'm glad that there is a lot within the fandom that does support shows like that. That you do see people like showing up in cosplay
Hmm.
as characters. You see people buying the comic books. You see people watching the shows and the movies and all of that. So like there's enough of like positive like fans that do support that stuff that like should just try to ignore the haters. But it's just such a weird phenomenon to me that the actors that play those roles probably have to like get off social media because people harass them. It's
Yeah,
so weird.
yeah, yeah. It's like you said. There are the majority of people are positive. The Star Wars fans are positive of these shows, but it's that really loud vocal minority that
Yeah,
ruin it for everyone.
yeah,
And because of the anonymity of the internet, the anonymity of Twitter, they get to espouse anything they want without any ramifications, right? So they could, and it's just, and it keeps building and building. It's so annoying and frustrating because these shows are great, and I really want everyone to enjoy them and watch them.
yeah.
But yeah, it's annoying.
If I was a Star Wars fan, I would definitely check it out. But like I said, it's so far, I'm so behind in understanding Star Wars that like it would take so much effort for me now to like go back and rewatch all the shows, like the cartoons and the books and the comics. And I feel like I'm just so far behind that it would just be too hard.
Maybe the Acolyte is a good place to start because it takes place prior to all the movies and whatnot.
Hmm.
The High Republic portion of Star Wars, so it takes place before the Phantom Menace, before Darth Vader even became around. So maybe it's a good place for you to start.
Okay, maybe I'll check it out then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
give it a watch. Watch the first episode and see if you like it.
yeah. Well, is there anyone that's like, is the lead a human or are they an alien or like what's
A human,
It's a human. Okay,
humanoid. I don't know if they're human, but they're human-like.
they look like us.
Yes.
They don't have horns growing out of their heads or like they're not.
No, not the lead. Yeah, I'm sure there are aliens in there that you'll be like, what? But
All
yeah,
right.
give it a watch. Watch the
Oh,
first episode. You can watch Carrie Ann Moss. Is that her name?
from the Matrix.
Yes, she's in the first episode.
Oh,
She
nice. I'll
It's a really
definitely.
cool fight scene that they. That's another thing. The fight scenes in there are really great. The martial arts, which I wasn't really expecting, because when you think of Jedi, and at least within the later Star Wars movies, you don't really see them doing that as much.
Yeah.
But the fight scenes in this were pretty good.
Oh, cool. I have to check it out then.
Converted you,
Yeah.
or we will convert you.
I wouldn't be that confident yet.
Okay.
Maybe.
The next episode, Gabe will report back about the Acolyte. So stay tuned, everyone.
Speaking of next episodes, as always, the invitation is out there for anyone who would like to give suggestions or stuff to read. We love reading books, comic books, films, anything that we would need to review, any cool TV shows that maybe haven't been on the radar as far as pop culture, but really should be that are like
Mhm.
worthy and notable. Or any bands, any musicians, things of that nature, definitely hit us up and let us know because we'd love to have people on our show to give them a little bit more of the spotlight and
Yeah.
have them show off their talents.
Absolutely. And especially in July, we're going to be focusing a lot on comic books just because, Comic Con is in July. So why not? We're going to be doing that. So comic book creators out there, creatives, if you want to come on, talk comic books, talk shop, talk art, talk your career, um, get in touch.
Yeah. Yeah, this weekend is actually QCon, so I'll be probably seeing friends of the podcast, Ed Luce and Josh Trujillo as well will
Mhm.
be. So I'll give them a shout out in person, and we'll see if maybe I'll meet anyone else that can jump on the podcast with us.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, we look forward to hearing your report on that as well.
Yeah, cool.
Cool. Well, everyone, thanks for tuning in. If you made it this far, be sure to like, subscribe, follow, share, tell all your friends about us, tell your friends' friends about us, and we'll see you all next time.
Stay safe, everyone.